are listening to STR, the Sunday Times Radio. Culture, music, and beyond. Hi everyone, this is STR, the Sunday Times Radio. And today at the Creative Hour, we have a wonderful scholar and a wonderful artist, Asma. And I'm very, very pleased to have you at the studio.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, hello.
Thank you for having me. Super excited for this interview and looking forward.
Thank you so much. Actually, for those who don't know, Asma also teaches at the university and she's straight out of her classes here. That's why this session is officially a class now. I'm going to ask a lot of questions as if I was the first year or something, like a fresher, a newbie. Yeah. And we hope that the future hour or so will enrich your lives a little bit.
So, amazing. That's actually the best kind of students who ask questions.
Lovely. I'm gonna try really. Okay. So you are undoubtedly a very interesting figure because you're one of the rare species of heavily research driven artist, which I find very interesting and I find it very inspiring as well, because you approach data and you approach studying and scholarship in a very different way, in a very creative way. First of all, when we come to your art and when we look at your art, we meet this wonderful term, the topographical memory of local landscapes. Mm-hmm. As a fresher, as a newbie, can you explain what that means?
So we have to first acknowledge that the urban settings and urban planning of the UAE is heavily influenced by foreign design and foreign architecture and consultancy. Mm-hmm. And that definitely affected the way the architecture is designed and also affected the topography, basically, and the way that the urban planning is developed in this way. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, it's also not going in parallel with the context of the region. Some of it is meeting, some of it is not. And then the context is basically the environment and the weather and also the culture. Mm-hmm. And that created a very special kind of phenomena in the region, where the type of buildings, the type of structures and type of projects that are built in the UAE and the Khaliji or the GCC region is specific because of that. Mm-hmm. So that is basically explaining the topographical kind of aspect of it. Mm-hmm. But then the memory or the spatial memory is also about the collective memory of people who are responding to it together, and also how also people remember it together. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what's the megastructure that you also often investigate?
It's basically I'm responding to what is developing and witnessing, or I was somehow trying to reflect of whether I can challenge my memory to still believe that it was faster than what usually people inspect that architecture takes time. Okay. But I do remember when Burj Khalifa used to be built, Burj Al Arab when it used to be built. I do remember that when I was a student, I had a photography project, and my colleagues in the class, some of them were living in Jumeirah and Zabil. Mm-hmm. So they used to take the under construction pictures of the space.
So cool.
And that wasn't so far.
Yeah.
And then also the whole development of the area was drastically changing, and we're living in it. And it's very common when you hear anyone from the UAE or a resident that says, I just been 2 months away and all of this happened when I was away.
Wow.
It's something that is collective and it's very, very common. It's not a surprise to hear that. Mm-hmm.
So by phenomenon of the megastructure in the Emirates, you mean this rapid memory of this huge, magnificent things being built up within actually a long time, but it feels like 2 days, right?
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
that is so interesting. How you came around such concept?
To be honest, I'm definitely interested in the urban planning, but also in, let's say, in a child mindset.
Oh.
So, because I'm not an architect or interior designer, I just love looking at structures. And I used to like build my own buildings by paper, like in my,
So cool.
school project or
Yeah.
something. But definitely like looking and observing as a spectator from the street. And it's collective. I keep saying collective because I think because it's also a car-centric kind of space, the UAE. I mean, the Dubai Metro was first introduced in, I think, 2009. So we're used to being the spectators from the car and introduce and looking at the city from a motion perspective. And we look at almost same exact building from same exact distance and depth and so on. So it's very like very, very unique sort of way of looking at it. But then I'm definitely inspired by that because I'm also looking at the change. And also definitely reflecting my childhood memory, commuting with my family. I do have family in Ras Al Khaimah. I'm from Ras Al Khaimah, and I live in Dubai. And also I have family members in Sharjah and Abu Dhabi. So you can imagine how
So nice.
commuting and the trips between all the cities. Is very common. So I think I started that from childhood when I was observing. I was inventing some kind of games with my siblings when we see the buildings.
Oh, wow.
And then it's also a very unique thing, I think, in Dubai where some of the families that I know, and especially relatives, who compare the age of some family members to a project or to a building that was being built and launched
no
at the same
way.
year. So we do have Umar Metro.
Oh, that is cool.
And it's it is funny, but also there is kind of relationship that we're starting to somehow realize, but also fantasize about it. And it's also the nation that are also it's something that is people are interested to see more what is happening, and we feel involved, like it's part of our daily life. So that's
That's so cool. Can you give me an example how you measure someone's age with the building? Like, I'm two Burj Khalifas, or I'm like twice as old.
So Umar Metro is basically
It's so funny.
he why I know the Metro launch date is because it's the same date of my cousin Umar birthday.
That is so
it's
cool.
9th of September 2009.
Wow, that is
999.
so cool.
Yeah.
999.
Yeah,
Wow.
So that is one example.
Oh, that is so cool. So whenever somebody asks, like, how long does the metro, by the way, exist in the UAE?
Yeah.
You're like, how long
I need
is
to
my
remember.
cousin?
I just need to remember what.
What's the age? That is so funny.
Yeah, exactly.
I love this. So basically your work is about how the nation is interconnected with architectural destiny of the place, of the country, right?
Exactly.
This is very interesting. And then what's the dimensional hybrid spaces that you build?
So basically I'm responding to it in a very subjective matter where I try to somehow build my fragments of my memory and what is existed in front of me right now. And like combine those moments. If I'm in Ras Al Khaimah and I'm in Dubai at the same time, or I'm in Dubai and remembering Ras Al Khaimah somehow, it's basically I'm trying to create that fragment of a space or a fragment of a memory in terms of scale and structure, and then I just try to communicate it or convey it through making the work. And it could be either a 3D or 2D. One of the fragments that I created as a sculpture, it was the commission that was made by Expo, where I chose 2 buildings in Sheikh Zayed Road, the Toyota building, Burj Rashid, or Dubai Trade Center. And basically, I'm just reflecting on the timeline that happened in Sheikh Zayed Road, which is the main road, and now it's the most popular road that it's filled with skyscrapers. And we still see the Toyota building, the tiny Toyota building at the middle of the road, and we just reflect on history of this building. It's just, I think, Rashid Nasser Luta building. So it's not called actually Toyota building, but it's just the signage of Toyota brand was on top of it. And what happened, which was very interesting, during COVID, the pandemic, the sign was removed because the contract ended.
Oh.
And then people started complaining because it's part of their memory. It was the landmark for so many people to navigate through the city.
Yeah.
I personally took some karate lessons under that.
Oh wow! Okay, so you're a weapon. I get it.
I have a black belt. And then basically they got the sign back with just a new typography, but it's back because people demanded.
It's so cool.
So that tells a lot about, I feel that it's not just what we stereotype about probably Dubai and especially Dubai, that it's just about the glory and and just the development of the building, but also people are building their own memories with the existed constructions and existed surroundings. That plays a big role in my definitely work. So this is, it's taking a huge part of my inquiry. Yeah,
it's really cool. It's like as if you're trying to be this transponder of the memory of the city, as if like you would be representing what the streets remember as well. It's so cool. And if you ever lived in Dubai at least 1 year of your life, everyone knows where Toyota building is. Literally, it's so cool. I never knew that something like this happened. And actually, it helps a lot in navigation if you're driving. This means actually a lot. And now I'm also afraid of you because you said you have a black belt.
I do. Fortunately.
This is so cool. This is so nice though. It's very cool actually. I've never done karate, but I think it's very cool.
It's a really good sport.
Yeah.
Because it has discipline part, and then there is also the performance part, and then there is the fight. And I grew up learning karate, so it affected my behavior overall.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Do you think you have like a discipline that developed in these days? Like you still carry on now, the habits and everything?
Yeah. Unfortunately, some of it, it's like I'm very, very determined when I want to do something, and I'm perfectionist as well. I learned some things in the hard way, but definitely like karate or any other sport, especially when you reach to a level where I did karate for 8 years, and I reached to the level of the national team. I was competing abroad.
Wow.
But basically it teaches a lot of taking responsibility, being disciplined, and also respect your if there's someone who's holding an older belt, and respecting the sensei and all the rules, but also it's strategic thinking when you do your fighting, and learning all the things around it definitely shaped or sculpted my way of thinking and way of behaving. And I use that in my academic practice and my studio practice. I know I have the summer, and then I'm definitely constructing somehow my time or managing my time regarding my studio practice and being free as well. Yeah.
Oh, that is so, so cool. I hope I will one day wait until you will have like lessons or school, like karate school. Like that would be so cool though. Oh, I love it though. But this all sounds so interesting and complex. And how did you end up here? Especially, okay, I get the karate part. Like I get it. It's actually very, very cool. Really, like I'm fascinated. But at the same time, like how did you get here? Who were your main supporters in pursuing art as a main career?
Definitely, family plays a big role in that. Where I grew up in Ras Al Khaimah till I think first or second grade, and the whole family lives in the same neighborhood.
Oh,
which
that
was
is
fun.
so nice.
Yeah, and I used to go to my cousins all the time, and my cousin's father, who's my aunt's husband, is a well-known ceramicist. He's pioneer in the field in the UAE. The artist Salim Johar, where he converted his majlis, which is basically known as the big space that basically you can invite so many guests in, that is usually separated from the house structure. But he converted his majlis or the guests area to his studio. And I grew up being carefully invited to the studio. It was very precious because he used ceramics as his medium.
Sure.
But I was very fascinated about like how this person who's grown up and adult and the father of my cousins, he has his this space that is very colorful, very vibrant, and there is so many mess and sketches and that sort of vibe. And then this is basically his work. And he's very influenced, by the way, with postmodernism in Iraq. He studied ceramics in Baghdad. And you can see the influence of Arabic typography and geometry and vibrant colors. And he creates a lot of very, very nice sculptures. So basically I was like, that's what I want to be.
Oh, that is so
growing
cool. So you're
up.
like, oh, he has fun. Like, I gotta do that.
Although he was very like quiet person, and I adore his also discipline. Definitely, like when he says nobody's allowed, and it's time for him to just like do. But he gave us some kind of projects to work on, such as drawing. What is it? Glass drawing on the windows.
Wow, like that is so cool.
Yeah, he draws it and then we basically paint it.
Oh, that is so nice.
Yeah.
This is lovely.
I love those moments. But again, like my family, I'm the eldest, by the way, from my siblings, and definitely that determination. I think this is the first child syndrome, I guess.
Definitely. I'm the first child. I know what you're talking about.
Just being very determined of what I want, very vocal about it, I guess, but showing it through my practice and everything. So sports played a big role in showing them like, I'm serious. So once I decided to pursue art as a career, they knew that I'm serious about it. It's not just for fun.
Oh, okay.
And then I told them my plan ahead. This could be it, or this is basically if this didn't work, I want to do this. And
first child vibes,
yeah, for sure. But yeah, both my parents used to like take me to do like extra curriculum classes, such as painting and drawing and so on. My mother used to take me a lot to festivals and initiatives that when Dubai Shopping Festival started in 1996. I used to attend everything. It was so fun.
So you were a diva since younger times.
I'm a quiet diva.
The
Very
quiet luxury.
Yeah.
Okay. You should have seen what she wears now, huh? No, really, but it's lovely. It's lovely. Would you say that your studio now looks like your uncle's?
Less colors.
Less colors. I love it. Oh, Jesus. I get it so well also with the being the eldest child, because I'm the eldest of four. And when you're the eldest of four and you're a very also you're young with younger parents, you're like getting all everything you don't want to
Exactly.
get. That's why I have to plan ahead for a couple of years and always have a plan B and everything. And it's also tells me a lot about why you approach your art this way. Because I also love academia for the way how you can study stuff and understand stuff, and pillar it and a layer under layer under layer. So it's so interesting and so lovely that you approach it this way. It's very, very, very cool, really.
Thank you.
Do you have maybe any artists or architects or any movements that influenced your perception and your work a lot?
I'm really interested. Growing up, definitely looking at my Ammi Salim, or my aunt's husband, and his kind of his influence in practice definitely took a part, but also the way that he took an influence from his studies definitely grabbed the attention to look at similar artists that practice same kind of medium, but also fall into same genre. So ceramicists from Iraq, postmodernism, or what they call it now, the neo-Islamic kind of
Right.
movement, in terms of it's either architecture or art in general, where you use something that could reference Islamic art. I cannot really define Islamic because it's a very, very large genre. And also there are other artists who are in the same kind of have the same kind of influence, such as Khaira Nissa Zaid, who I've seen her also recent work in Venice Biennale.
Nice.
Very, very nice painting. Also same kind of influence, but she's Turkish.
Lovely.
And the Casablanca School and Mohammed Malihi, where taking geometry into new kind of wave somehow, and using color and shape as an element to convey in his way resistance or decolonization through color, but also as what else? Western artist Julie Meritu. I think I got introduced by as a knowledge about her because I did my MFA in RISD, where she also graduated.
Oh, nice.
And I had the pleasure of just seeing her there. And also who else? Carlos Carpa is one of my favorite architects. I also have seen his work in Italy, and also around Venice, where he not just do a whole architecture, but it could be an architecture kind of structure, and then there is Tomba Brion, and also there is kind of just the gate of the Gardini entrance in Venice Biennale.
Yeah.
So, but you can see his elements, it's like a signature that you can see. It could be a window just by Carlos Carpa or something like that. But he used recreate his elements all the time, so you can see the signature of his using. Yeah,
that is so cool. I hope all the art lovers are now taking notes in their pads, because this is really cool actually. What was the craziest project? Like, because thinking about the Carlos works and everything, what was the craziest project of yours? Like, what was you're like, wow, I didn't know even that I could do this work.
Again, maybe this is the the syndrome as well. I'm still yet
You're humble.
not very. I mean, alhamdulillah, yani I'm happy with what I'm doing as a process. I usually take it as an opportunity for development. And I think maybe because I still say that to my students, think about your project as maybe one iteration of the like this is a result, but it could develop into different iteration. It depends on the space, the environment. Maybe it's a site specific. If it's a 2D, just trying different kind of iteration of the color scale, composition, and so on. So I usually think about my projects this way. Like I finish the work, but I visualize at the same time what it could be next, or if it had the chance, or if I had the chance of repeating it or making another iteration of it, I know exactly what I want to do with it. But I think I enjoyed doing the sculptures or the large-scale sculptures because I design it in a 2D and then try to somehow reiterate it, but then taking it to stages that definitely needs a lot of help in development with people who are expert in different backgrounds, such as architecture and engineers. For example, the Expo project, it's the sculpture called Distorted Familiarities, where I did the Toyota building and the Trade Center, Dubai Trade Center.
Yeah, for the Expo 2020.
What was interesting about that project is after designing it and then modeling it with the architect, I was trying to figure out, okay, how we can make this. This will be a large scale, and this should be durable. This should last forever.
Nice.
So I was thinking about stone, but again, like it's a new concept for me. So maybe it's the budget would be so high. So what are the alternatives? And then we were trying to explore ideas of how to make a larger scale structure. And then we found a fabricator in Sharjah who is actually known in basically developing mosques. And then the interior of the mosque, like the motifs of the mosque and so on.
So the ornaments and everything.
Yeah.
Wow, it's so detailed.
And most of it's a big team. And what was fun about it, that all of them knew Toyota building, knew Dubai Trade Center, but without even saying it, which was amazing, because Toyota building, people know it because of the sign, but they know the building. So
really cool.
It wasn't called Sculpture 1 and Sculpture 2 and 3 as it says in the proposal. Yeah. They just call it what they.
This is a Toyota building.
Yeah.
Like,
but then they were telling me their stories, like some. I think the owner's space just knew someone who works there or lived in Toyota building and so on. It's. I think I enjoyed it. And when I finished it, I was like very grateful that I had this experience, because it's different than when what I used to do in the studio. Yes, you can talk to people and do studio visits for sure, but that was exceptional kind of experience for me.
I get it, absolutely.
You are listening to STR, the Sandy Times Radio, culture, music, and beyond.
Like, speaking about how you investigate people as well in your practice, because if I'm correct, you study a lot the temporality and the spatial memory that you referred to already. Can you explain, first of all, like what are those for those listening? And also, how do you even approach, studying such intangible things like temporality and spatial memory?
So basically, I was trying to somehow recall moments, and moments are ephemeral, something that couldn't really last. And those moments definitely are associated with motion. I, in my practice, go around the city and take pictures by my phone. And it doesn't really matter the quality. Like I just try to document and archive when I'm like just trying to be present somehow, and not just observing the structure, observing the building facades, observing the residential houses, but then also being aware of like the scale, the what is it, the distance between my car and the space, if people are walking around or not, like trying somehow to be present, because I'm not sure if this moment will be ephemeral or not. And that basically came to me after a conversation I had with my mother when she used to live besides Dubai Creek with her father. My grandfather, God bless his soul, had a few shops in that area, and basically she used to recall the space of the souk or the market.
Right.
Because she used to call it very vibrant, small as if the distance, it's not really for cars to pass by. So you have to walk around to
Get something,
yeah.
actually.
And also and yeah, she learned some Urdu words, like people are more
Like they're open, they're more like engaged.
So I feel that, I mean, it's a specific time and a specific scale describing that I'm interested in just like knowing,
Like
for now.
Yeah, so like do not let the moment pass kind of thing. How do you study it? Case studies, interviews?
Yes, exactly. So I do, after taking pictures of or trying to document the architectural surroundings and building facades. So, for example, before my solo exhibition, I had some interviews with Emirati architects. One of them is Mr. Rashad Bukhash, who was also one of the was a member of the team, or the head of the team, who developed a book about the motifs in Ashandaga area, where the traditional houses are. And basically, I was just questioning a lot of technical things, such as why did the Emirati residential houses change from being the traditional floor plan into the modern floor plan?
Yeah.
Is it like a taste, or is there
Why?
something? Why? And there was an answer for
Really?
it. Yeah.
What's it?
So it was basically in early 1970s. Basically, it was a policy or a decree, something, where the house should be following a new floor plan structure. The floor plan used to be, before, the courtyard is in the middle of the house. If the house is a square, there is a square in
Like
the middle,
courthouse.
open area. And then now it's the opposite. So the house is the square or the rectangle, and then there is a courtyard, could be around it, or a specific area, but then there is somehow at least 2 meters between the house and the fence or the wall
Yeah.
that has to be built around it. And it's for the firefighter in case of emergency and so on.
Makes sense.
But it's just changed to that instead of the traditional way. I mean, he also thought that why he felt that he felt sad, of course, but as an architect, because he feels that there definitely there will be ways of using traditional ways and methods of the traditional architecture and make it sustainable and reuse it in the modern world, not just deviating from it because, we do have the AC now and that's it.
Yeah.
So yes, I do agree with that. That it was an interesting conversation just to know about that.
Sure.
So now I'm more aware of like how the fences are
why,
structured and why. But also I'm very, very interested, and this is for my new drawing series of I'm drawing the fences that are referencing the 2000s and 90s and 80s kind of designs where it's very hybrid. And of course, it's somehow a way of the society of stating their social status. When you have your house design very European or very, like mid-century that is, but it's also mixed with like neo-Islamic design or pattern. And all of that complexity came during that time. And it's very specific design. Like you see it, people feel it's bizarre. And I know that maybe architects will agree with me. People pass by and laugh because some people feel like it's not a nice taste. It's something that is just
crazy, like
crazy
bizarre,
to just merge those kind of components and elements together.
Yeah, like who would want that?
But it happened. And guess what? I feel that most of the house owners were just having fun with the constructor, like the people who they hire. And I've seen many situations where like it's just the owner is standing and then pointing at something and then the contractor is like, yeah, sure. and I think they're just having fun. And it definitely reminds me of my conversation with Maisel Bek, who's also an artist and architect and a friend, who we had kind of conversation about it because she was also working at Sharjah Foundation and they were inspecting the flying saucer building. And then she mentioned, because she studied architecture, she mentioned that it was so complex, just like try to decode it.
Oh, wow.
And but she was also saying, and I'm quoting, like the person who, because we don't know who's the designer or the architect, but she said, I bet he had a great time, like having fun creating it.
Oh, right.
And I do think that it's something common here because we didn't had restrictions that much forced on the architecture and especially residential architecture or vernacular architecture. So people just like either copying each other or copying, but then also developing, and adding. Which created the whole scene of residential scene that is very, very unique.
That's very interesting. What's the most bizarre building in Dubai?
There is a building.
I'm waiting for it. I have my
There is a
answer.
building in Jumeirah, which I don't think that this building misses any kind of art movement. Everything is there. And I think maybe that was the point.
Oh God! Where is it?
I'm not sure who's because I passed by.
So somewhere in Jumeirah.
Somewhere in Jumeirah.
So they have like Bauhaus, they have Islamic architecture.
Everything.
Oh God, I love it. It's just, this person is like, yes, I like the whole menu. Is that I think the owner is the person who like it literally asks for the whole menu every time. Yeah. My option would be, and also actually in Jumeirah, this like very Asian looking huge castle that everybody near the Gargash hospital.
Yeah.
I love this place so much. I sometimes just stare at it like for a minute or two when I'm on a traffic light or something because it's so like is just out of this world. Like,
Cool,
this is so interesting with the dragons and stuff.
Amazing. And I also would like to shout out for two accounts that I love in Instagram. There are Abu Dhabi Streets and Goodbye Jumeirah.
Oh, Goodbye Jumeirah is so good.
Because, yeah, it does reflect what I'm looking for. I think I can be friends with them. Hi. But yeah, definitely it reflects, or it somehow says that it's also collective. Like, it's not just me trying to recall or try to document, but it's I do think it's a collective feeling.
It's really, really cool. And speaking about like also combining different traditions and everything, how, as a scholar, how would you define and decode tradition yourself?
So basically, definitely it can start through research, but then I develop it subjectively regarding the elements that I'm using at that medium. Sure. So one example that I did in my previous solo last year with 421 Art Campus, where I basically was reflecting towards the motifs that are built in the vernacular architecture. And so it used to be basically in 60s or 50s. The motifs had unique elements, such as it's more carved. It had this kind of details of vegetation and flowers, even geometric shape, but it still have this kind of intricate and delicate kind of surface. Where after 60s, where the cement was introduced in the 60s, it developed from that to something that is more flat and geometric, because that serves the mass production purposes. So those kind of motifs that we usually see in the vernacular architecture, that we can see through the motif, change from that shape or that outcome to this. So I was basically reflecting to that kind of information through implementing the same old motif, distorting and morphing it, adding the element of motion. So the motif will be repetitive and just distorted in my sculpture. And it's 15 meters long. So when you go to the exhibition space, even if you're walking slowly, you feel that I wanted to somehow try to give this experience for the viewer to see it as if they're posing a movement.
Oh, lovely.
So that is very subjective and definitely people can reflect to it in different way. But I do think that I demand patience and demand being presence in looking at my work, even if my work is trying to show you a movement. Movement for me is time, definitely, and speed. So I try to show that, but in a slow pace.
Like a snapshot.
Yeah. So the decoding that idea, yes, it came out of like a very objective information. But then I was trying to use it in a different aspect and different kind of
like
way.
Personalize it through the context.
Exactly.
As I already mentioned, Asma is just from her classes, actually. So I'm going to ask you a little bit about you as an educator and your role as an educator. Since you work a lot with observing the motion and the change throughout the times and like giving the voice to the streets kind of thing, how they also witness the change. How do you approach teaching tradition in modern classes? How do you make tradition and canons relevant and relatable for modern students that have like TikTok and stuff?
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
First of all, I teach visual art classes at or visual art courses at Zayed University in Dubai. And the type of courses I teach is sculpture, painting, ceramics, installation, and also the visual art seniors. So we start with research and then the final project. And then basically I try to implement sort of, if I can, traditional aspects of the culture as in assignments. For example, trying to implement craftsmanship or trying to somehow push and motivate students to think about the traditional craftsmanship, to use it as probably a method or a technique for example, making ceramics or making sculpture, using plaster or using any other medium. So that is one aspect that I try to like somehow motivate the students to use. And another aspect is basically through also research as well, because it's what I'm trying to do in my practice. And I give a lot of examples, and mostly also from the region where they need to relate to it or feel that it's relevant to the context. So every assignment I do have like a presentation of like just the introduction of the work, but then also like a list of examples of artists who probably applied that kind of aspect into it. So for example, today we just I was coming from Green Art Gallery, and I mentioned that I used so my class presentation today in painting one class. It was about appropriation and cultural appropriation, and basically how to not fall into that trap. But I used a lot of examples of artists who used appropriation in their work, such as Michael Rockowitz, who used Mesopotamian artifacts and sculptures, but then the medium was paper mache and products from his grandfather's Arabic grocery. So that is, and he's also talking about political kind of aspects, but he used appropriation. Now I'm giving you guys a lesson. And then there's another aspect of it where could be, for example, Khalil Rabah, who's also presenting his work in green art, which is basically using the kufiya, but it's out of the black color in the middle pattern, which references also political kind of statement. And that was produced in 1996. So it's very, like, it's still valuable nowadays, you know, because of the circumstances that happen, fortunate circumstances to Gaza. So looking at artists who are from the region and giving them so many examples that are relevant and yet they can visualize like, okay, this is a good example. I need to just try to somehow apply something that reflects me, and again taking the topic and applying it. So that is also definitely something that I'm try to motivate students to do it. Besides, of course, getting facts and basically research, case studies, and just like research, inquiry, literature, views. And that is also definitely in a higher level where the senior students are exploring their own concepts.
So it's always like the process is you choose the term or like the phenomenon, then you do your case study, your interview, so approach it as if it was a sociological academic review or so, right? So you gather your data, and then once you have your findings, you are trying to visualize the conclusions, not in the way of conclusions like on a scholar, like on paper, like, right, analyzing or interpreting, but like as an
artwork. Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Lovely.
but in academia, it's the artwork besides the paper.
Yeah.
So they will still be writing their final
so
paper.
Like, this is not enough. I'm gonna also do like a huge.
I tell them because most of the art students.
Yeah.
Some of them, haram. Some of them come to and choose this major. They thinking that it's easier because they will just be painting and doing beautiful things. But then at the end of the day, I tell them, you guys are like end up doing a paper, like a research paper, and an artwork that you will exhibit as a final exhibition.
Oh God.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, it's something that takes really a long time to take the process and develop a work. But then I also try to push them always to have it as an interdisciplinary inquiry, where yes, you will talk about your work as an artist, but you don't only research about art or research about only psychology and just conveying your emotion through art. Maybe you're interested in science.
Yeah.
So take the initiative of looking at what you're interested in science, and then reflect to it, but also support your claim of reflection by psychology, and then combine them all together to create your work.
Yeah, this was a wiki how on how to create a beautiful academic paper. Everybody, just in case, this is how you do it. Like,
of course,
I
and
love
definitely a room for experimentation.
100%.
So
100%. Do you have maybe any favorite projects by your students? Like you're like, oh, this is my pet.
I don't know.
My pet student.
I love my students. I feel it's just a blessing to do this as a paid job.
How long have you been teaching, by the way?
This is my 6th year.
6th year.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Yeah. And
cool.
I have now some students who are presented by galleries and
that must be so nice.
Showing in so many projects, and I'm so proud and happy.
That is so cool.
Yeah. Definitely. Like to be honest, there is a lot of. Every batch has so many kind of, especially seniors, because they spend time talking and brainstorming with you. But there are like every year has a special kind of few students that I'm very keen in their practice, and I can't wait to see what they can do more.
Oh, that is so nice. Do you still remember your first years? Like when you just started, you remember your first grade or your first class? I don't know.
My first class, yes.
First class?
Yes, I do remember.
Was it calm or were you nervous?
I was calm.
You were calm?
Yeah.
Why? I'm not surprised at all, to be honest. After karate thing, like you have the control of everything. I get it. Like really, it's so cool. I need to do karate to learn that. That is so cool. And last but not least, I'm very curious about your perspective on the fusion, actually, because you're the person who studies not only the canons and traditions, but also how they transform within time, and also some modern canons and traditions, right? Like Toyota building, for instance, because it's something that is normal and traditional for the modern age. But when we blend together modernity and tradition, would you say the balance between two is possible? So is it possible to create modern yet traditional building, for instance, or you would say there will always be more on one part of the scales?
I know that the urban planning now, especially in the region, like they're very, very encouraged and definitely are working so hard to do that merge in the building and the basically development of the projects. I cannot really call a specific project, but usually this is what they're trying to do, is bringing back the traditional kind of elements of the architecture and then implement the modern technology into it, such as masdar, I guess. I mean, the climate is a big issue in this region, so I didn't experience that specific experience of the temperature is like 10% reduced because of the architectural structure. And so basically sustainability is something that the urban planning projects are interested in, for sure. I do look at it as the spectator again, like looking in a zoomed out kind of way. And I just feel that people now are more conscious about design and functional design, and then and then again bringing the traditional kind of elements back. So it's implied now in many places, even many houses, like the Majlis now has use in, for example, let's say 90s, it shifted to something that could be seen as the Rococo kind of design setting, but also inspired also by the Royal Egyptian kind of era.
Love it.
But now it's shifted back again to Emirati, but again very simple and modern slash bohemian. Like you can see that people are now started to develop a taste. That also somehow reflecting the concerns that people are thinking about and urban planners are thinking about. So I think I just want to respond to it as I'm still the spectator, and I just want to witness what everyone is doing, and keep that in mind. And I know that it will somehow change. It will change constantly.
And last but not least, so for everybody's context, we're recording this in October, and this is my small time capsule to November-ish. Can you tell me a little bit about like upcoming projects you're excited about?
Yeah, so I think now we're installing in Sarkal Avenue my site-specific commission.
Nice.
So it will be in one of the warehouses. And you guys, if you visited Sarkal Avenue, you know that most of the warehouses are built from corrugated aluminum, or at least the facade of it. So basically, I'll be extruding corrugated aluminum.
Oh, wow.
And basically building structures from the same material, and then installed in the same same material, and it will basically look like a building from 70s
that is
from
so
Dubai.
cool.
So watch out when you basically see just a few balconies extruded somewhere in Sarkal. But it's a very a very nice project that I'm collaborating with Sarkal Avenue and the Sarkal Foundation, and it's also in collaboration with the gallery that represents me, Green Art Gallery. Yeah, I'm basically trying to see how that will look like.
Oh, I'm so excited. So if anyone could pass us a note through the time machine, that would be the time. Thank you so much. That is so cool.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any last message for those walking around Dubai?
Just keep observing and live the moment. Be present when you walk around. You might find something that you don't like or you like as a design, but just keep it in mind. I think it's a special place, and yeah.
Thank
Enjoy.
you so much. Thank you so much. It was lovely having you. Thank you so much for this hour.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
I hope everybody enjoyed the episode as much as I did. Stay tuned for the next episode, and we hope we enriched your lives with some akademia today a little bit. I hope everybody enjoyed it, and see you soon. STR loves you. Bye-bye.